What's going on, you guys? Wonder Bro here. What is going on during severe anxiety? It can feel debilitating. You can feel frozen, literally quite frozen in place. You can't think straight. There's no rational thought happening. You feel like you're about to jump out of your skin. You don't know what to do, right? What is happening? Knowledge is power. So what is happening there? Well, to describe that, you first need to know what the amygdala is. The amygdala is the part of your brain responsible for setting off that alarm that puts you in fight, flight, or freeze, right? It is your built-in protection mechanism, you could say. It is your threat radar. So when that goes off, you are underneath what we call an amygdala hijack. The amygdala has taken control of those functions in your brain. Now, it's not harmful and it's not dangerous. However, it is extremely uncomfortable, saying the least, right? Now, during this amygdala hijack, what it does is it stops rational thought from being able to pass through to your prefrontal cortex, right? Now, that is the thinking and reasoning and logical part of your brain. So during an amygdala hijack, it's going to be very difficult for you to have any sort of rational thoughts, to have any sort of logical thoughts, right? Those tend to go out the window. I hear it all the time. People come to me and say, love your advice, love what you do. But when I'm in the middle of it, I can't seem to wrap my head around anything logical. I can't seem to wrap my mind around anything rational. And I'm here to tell you, it's supposed to be that way, right? It's supposed to be that way. That doesn't mean you're out of options. It doesn't mean you can't retrain your brain. But it is supposed to be that way when the amygdala takes control like that, right? You're supposed to feel frightened. You're supposed to feel like you just can't think of anything logical, like you just can't be rational. The amygdala is quite literally blocking access to rational thought during those high anxiety moments. Now, you don't just have to be in a panic attack to experience this. You experience this anytime you are feeling severe anxiety, right? So what can you do then? If you can't access logical thought, if all of your thoughts become very black and white, very negative, you're feeling all of this physical discomfort, all of these symptoms, what can you do? Can you do anything, right? And the answer is yes, you can. Dr. Claire Weeks, right? Dr. Claire Weeks, acceptance, response prevention. There's many different labels or titles for it, but basically what all of these different techniques come down to is understanding that during severe anxiety, during this amygdala hijack, right, your objective here becomes not to add fuel to the fire, right? It becomes not to gas the fire with more rumination, with more worry. What's going on with me? And that's why we do these videos, so you can know what's going on with you, so you have a better chance to accept through these moments of high anxiety and bring yourself down. And then your brain will start to calm down. You'll be able to reach that rational thought again. Everything will start to settle down. But during those moments, if you don't know what's going on, of course, you're going to be even more terrified. You're going to start ruminating over these thoughts. What do they mean? Are they true? They're not true. You're safe. You can handle this, right? What do these feelings mean? Am I in any sort of danger? Is something bad going to happen to me? Absolutely not, right? This is just a out of whack protection mechanism. Feels really, really uncomfortable, but you are not in any sort of danger or any sort of harm. So next time you experience this really high anxiety, what you're going to do, what you're going to try to do, right, is get in there and remind yourself, look, I know what's going on. I can handle this. Any thoughts that are coming or going or trying to suck you into that rumination, trying to get you to worry, trying to get you to pay a lot of attention to them, try to look at them for what they are. They are thoughts coming from that hijacked part of the brain that's trying to alert me to some danger that doesn't exist, right? I'm not going to get in there and add to it and worry about it and ruminate. What is ruminate? It just means when you get in there with those thoughts and you give them credit and attention, right? So next time you experience this severe anxiety, remind yourself, I'm safe. I can handle this, right? If you've got thoughts coming and going, even if they're getting a bit sticky, they're trying to suck you in. It feels like something's trying to suck you into that rumination. Remind yourself, try to ground yourself, remind yourself, look, I don't have to go there with that, okay? And then try to get on with your day to the best of your ability. I know that's difficult, but to the best of your ability, try to give your attention to other things going on around you. We call that, living life. That's part of the two keys. So while you're living life, trying to give attention to what matters, some people call that ACT. That's an acronym for another type of therapy, ACT. Of course, I just take bits and pieces from ACT and ERP and acceptance, and I sort of put them together and try to make them make sense for you guys. But at the end of the day, it's going to be up to you what you decide to follow. But all of these different, if you even want to call them techniques, all of these different techniques like response prevention and ACT and acceptance and Dr. Claire Weeks, they're all trying to fundamentally say the same thing, right? Which is, you're having the severe anxiety, you're having these thoughts, you're having these feelings. The brain is trying to make sure you're okay. If you get in there and worry about them and ruminate about them and try to fight them and block them out, it only tells the brain, it sends a clear signal of threat. It tells the brain, I'm in trouble. You need to protect me more, right? Then you get more anxiety, you get more thoughts. So all of these different techniques and therapies and preventions, they all come down to the same thing, just in different packages, which is, you are okay. You are safe. You are experiencing this anxiety in your body and in your mind. And what you need to do is come into that moment and say, it is okay that I feel this way. There's nothing for me to think about. There's nothing for me to ruminate on. Sure, I'm having thoughts. Sure, I'm having feelings, but I'm going to give my attention to something else. And it can be anything in your life, right? Try to turn your attention to something else and leave it all alone. Let it be. Let the storm pass, as they say, right? Let the storm pass. So there's a good quote that I really enjoy. It is, you can't calm the storm, but you can calm yourself during the storm. And I think that's really, really suitable for anxiety, because although you can't necessarily get up there and force your amygdala to calm down, you can try to ground yourself during, and the amygdala will learn, hey, look, he or she didn't start ruminating on those thoughts, trying to figure them out, trying to figure out what to do about them. They didn't start ruminating on what to do. They didn't start ruminating on their feelings. They stayed grounded. They stayed engaged in the real world to the best of their ability, and they left those thoughts and feelings alone. So that tells me there's really nothing important or dangerous about these thoughts and feelings. I can start to turn the alarm down, right? So no matter what you call it, guys. And the reason I'm bringing that up today is because a lot of people have come to me and said, well, what do you like the most? ERP or ACT or acceptance or clarity? At the end of the day, guys, no matter what you want to call it, it's really all the same thing packaged differently. These thoughts and feelings are not there to harm you. They're not there to hurt you. And although you feel very unsafe, you are safe and you can handle them, right? But by trying to get in there and fight with them and think harder on them and ruminate about them and really give them attention mentally, all you're doing is telling the brain that they're important when they're not important, right? You're not really in danger. You're not really in trouble. So understand that no matter which way you approach this thing, you don't have to be too technical, right? You can come up with your own inner voice or your own attitude or your own mindset. You can live life the way you want to live it. But all advice just comes down to, these thoughts and feelings are there. They're extremely uncomfortable, I know. But when you give them importance mentally and physically by doing all these compulsions, mentally by getting in there and worrying about them and trying to figure them out, what advice should I use? You're trying to get too technical. When you give all these things energy, basically, you are just telling the brain that they are important and they are dangerous and you do need to figure them out. So the brain keeps them at the forefront. The brain keeps bringing them back up. Here's more anxiety. Here's more thoughts, right? So at the end of the day, all right, I'm going to wrap it up here, I promise. At the end of the day, you are safe. You can handle this. What you give energy to matters. Let those thoughts and feelings be as they are. Put your spotlight on life. Put your spotlight on something else other than those thoughts and feelings. Doesn't mean you won't feel those thoughts and feelings. Doesn't mean you won't have those thoughts and feelings. Just means that you're no longer trying to control or manipulate them. You are just keeping yourself grounded, and you are keeping that spotlight of your attention on something else. Thoughts and feelings are there. You're going to remind yourself that you're safe, that you can handle it, and live your life. All right. I love you guys. Let me know if you would like to do some one-on-one coaching with me. You can DM me on any of the Vacate Fear social media. Leave a comment down below. It's been a while, so leave a comment down below. Let me know, what is your favorite part about summer? Summer is here. What is your favorite part about summer? I love you guys. Reach out to me for the coaching, and I'll see you next time. And until then, stay awesome.